It's me, it's Johnny Boy, and how have we met, John?
We met from YouTube.
Yeah, we met from. We have. There's 2 meters between us, like, you know, right? But we met on YouTube, haven't we? And what am I doing here today?
Well, I've always been really interested in watching John's videos, and I had just some questions for John, and I sort of reached out to him and said, "Do you mind coming and have a look, John? Do you mind just, I've got a few questions that are a bit unanswered. I haven't been able to find, the video or the person to really help me. So thought reach out to John and maybe get a bit of advice from him."
And look, it's the least I can actually do by coming out and seeing you, isn't it? Like today, you watched the videos, you've been complimentary with your comments, and I really appreciate that. And thanks for having me at the end of the day. And as a result of our meeting, I suppose.
Well, we just got talking about everything, I suppose, didn't we, John?
Yeah.
We got talking about, YouTube, landscaping, where the world's going.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that, 2 people can catch up and meet just by sending essentially each other a message on YouTube and hopefully learning more from it.
There's going to be a lot of landscapers watching this now, and we were talking about filmmaking, and that's what you do, and you're a marketeer, you do marketing. How important is video?
I essentially would say it's the most consumed form of media, isn't it? When you think about all the things that are going on, people are watching more video than they ever have before. And I think, John, you've tapped into that a little bit, haven't you? You sort of realised that you can try and learn something from a manual, you can try and read a book, but really ultimately is when you see someone physically showing you with their hands.
It's the best way of learning.
There's no other way really that can really beat it, unless you're face to face with them and you're talking to them and showing them, side by side. So, it's essential.
So just another point now is that for the landscapers that are watching this now, and say a young lad that's starting out in this business, let's just say that they're not like sort of bold and brash like I am, and they're a little bit shy. They're a little bit shy, but they can still produce content, can't they?
I think that's it. No matter what the technology is, you can use your phone now, and what you want to realise is you're doing something that people find really interesting. You might think, your family might find it interesting. They might think, oh, he does a bit of this, does a bit of that. Actually, there's essentially a whole world out there that does, the stuff you do day in, day out. It's really interesting. And also, it's difficult, it's technical, and essentially if you're sharing that knowledge, you're essentially, helping other people learn, and you're growing, like you've said, you've grown the community, grown the whole industry really, and sharing best practice.
Absolutely, I think that's the key about best practice, and I think showing people what you like. And I think the thing is, if you're prepared to go and do a video, you're saying I'm accountable. Just going to say something to you now. This is just as an observation. I always say this, is that if Van Gogh and Monet had video, they'd be doing cartwheels, wouldn't they?
They'd be doing it every day, wouldn't they? That's the thing. Their medium was painting at the time. It'd be video now, wouldn't it? That's the thing. It's the reality of what we're in. Like, we were talking before about the amount of YouTube I'm consuming versus TV. I'm watching landscaping videos every single day. I'm watching pasture, all of this type of stuff.
Yeah, DIY.
Love it all. And that's the thing, really. Is I'm not the only one. There's thousands of people around the globe that love this stuff, and I think it's very easy to think in your local area, or maybe there's not, people aren't interested in it. They are. Just start producing it, putting out the content. Doesn't have to be the best thing in the world. Just start doing it. I think it's just keep going.
What would you say to people or contractors that think that by sharing my knowledge in the industry is that we're giving it away? Do you think that's?
I think it's a perfect so I've come from sort of photography, film, and I think 5 years ago, that was very much the same thing, right? Is everyone had their secrets, everyone had their things, and what you realise over time is that it doesn't really help. The secrets eventually get exposed, whether it's now, whether it's 20 years down the line. So, this knowledge, it gets shared. Okay, we all share it with each other. Probably, like you said, everything from a teacher has shared it to you. You've shared it to your apprentices, and it carries on. The secrets are going to come out, and I think essentially the more that you share with the industry, the better the industry becomes, right? We all know in every industry, I've come from film, I come from that, you get cowboy photographers, you get cowboy thing, and the truth is, the better you all share the best practice, the better the whole industry grows, because you're all sharing it. I think that's just what's going on. Is I've seen it from my world in marketing, film. there's a few secrets. They might, hide them away, but ultimately, people are better for sharing it all.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
think
truth.
I
That's
think
the
so.
truth. Okay.
This is great. I love this. This like content is so important to share. Like we said, you were just talking about that. There's not a real danger, is there, of somebody that just because somebody's doing a video on how to do things, right? It doesn't mean to say that they may go into practice. Does it really matter? Because you always got that new generation of contractors coming in. Not everybody wants to do videos anyway. But so you're a young lad. Just imagine now, you're a young lad, 26, 27, decided to go by yourself as a landscaper or a contractor, whatever, right? This is valuable. You've come from what's the first thing that they actually do when it comes to the marketing side and this videography? What's the first thing, John?
So I think caring about you and your brand, is really important, right? So when I say care about it, I'm not saying you don't need all the fancy equipment and things like that. It's just showing that you care about your work will translate. It's going to translate across whether it's a post, a video, an image. The more you're showing it and taking pride in it, I think John mentioned it, it's about being accountable for yourself. It's really important, is, the first video, the first bit of content is not going to be the best. And don't worry about it, just put it out there, learn from it, make the next one. What happens? You've got 30, 40, 50 videos and you're doing the work anyway. By that time you're going to get better as time goes on. And I just think it's one of these things where you care, and the more you care, I think that translates to not only an audience like me who watches the content, it's potential customers. They think, oh, this person not just turning up and just doing a job, actually they care enough that they want to share the content with other people. I think that's quite important. That little bit of accountability is like I said, you don't need the most fancy equipment. You can use your phone. We've all got a phone, and I think luckily for most people, if you're doing the work anyway, why not share it? Why not think, you know what I'm doing right now is actually quite interesting, or this job's a bit difficult. I'm going to show this and say, it's a bit of problem solving going on here. Don't be afraid to show that little bit of vulnerability and share your, what you're going through.
I think you're right there, and that's the thing for me is that you when you start promoting dialogue, you'll get feedback which will help you, and it's certainly helped me, and it's helped me to improve, and I've had to improve. So you're coming from a contractor side, a point of view. Then, what would you say to what can a potential client take from a video? What can they take from seeing a video of a job, either from start to finish or a little clip of it finished after? What can they take from that? What does it tell the client?
I think, one of the big things is for a lot of people, they, especially clients, they haven't got a big network of, say, landscapers or tradespeople, and, it's probably the little bit of insight. Essentially it's the next best thing to meeting them in person, isn't it? So if they're seeing that you from start to finish have really cared about a job, they're thinking, well, they're going to probably care about the job which they do for me. And I think that's just all it is, really, is you're essentially translating what you care about onto video, and then it's easy for everyone to see. Then if you turn up and you don't care and you don't really want to do it, it's not going to be that helpful. But if you say, this is how I do it, not afraid to show you, not afraid to sort of, invest in my time to really, share it with the rest of you, it's only going to be beneficial.
You put yourself out there and you're being honest, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's trust is huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're paying a lot of money. They really are.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you.
That, if I am going to choose a person, I really want to, I want someone that really cares about the work. Right?
I don't know if you'd seen one of the videos. Sorry for stopping you talking there, John. We did a job for a gentleman called Ian up in London, and I had a problem with the grout. And I don't know if you've seen it. I actually went back and I redid it, and I wouldn't have done it, even if it wouldn't been on video, I'd still went up and done it. Yeah, absolutely. So you're making that point. On another point, this country's full of CEOs and managing directors and national sales managers that are basically draconian, Victorian, and some don't even know what a website is, do they? They don't even look at a website, because that's not their role. But if you were sending a message out to that part of the industry, what would you say to them? How important about,
I think the thing is for a long time, luckily they've been able to rely on not needing it, right? I think that's the reality. But as time goes on, as the generations shift, what do I do if I'm searching for something? I'm going to Google it. It's as simple as that, really. I haven't got this huge network of people that I know that I can just rely on. I'm going to use something like Google. I'm going to use something like YouTube just to find out, okay, what do I need to know? And really having a really accessible bit of content or a bit of a website. Really.
Do you think they realise how powerful this
So we were talking about this, John, when we were talking about, if you're in your local district, there's probably a very few people that might consume that content in your local area. But what we're talking about now is the era of the mega niche, we call it, which is, there might be one or two dotted in your local area, but then you spread that to the entire UK or the entire, Europe, as far as...
It's like a franchise then, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's all coming from, this single page or channel or whatever it is. It's, there's a fan base bigger than probably you even realise, because if you just look around your own area, you probably think it's not that big, but the reality is people from all over the country are probably thinking all the same things, and there's a niche to be fulfilled. There is someone somewhere is going to really hone in on that subject and really own it. And the more you can really embrace that idea of the mega niche, that there's people all around the country who are interested in what you're doing right now, and we watch channels, we watch pages, we look at all of this content and consume it because we're interested. And those who have the content available, it's going to be consumed by someone. That's the reality. So start thinking about it. Is how do I make my say in this world of content creation, where what's really important and valuable for my customers? There's always the idea of the value exchange, right? If someone absorbs the content I've produced, then they might then buy my product as time goes on. So it's thinking about that sort of reciprocal to and
partnership.
from.
Yeah,
it's a partnership in a way. Is you give them something in knowledge and content, they might get something back from it.
Yeah. Do you think that, like, for me, the builders, merchants, and the suppliers and manufacturers out there, in my opinion, I think they take it for granted that we're just going to turn up every week, and I would just going off tangents a little bit here now, but do you think that they could connect with their client base in a better way by using video?
I think just being very, very open and honest about things like the products they've got or the way things work. There's no harm essentially in explaining something to someone. If someone doesn't want to explain it, they probably won't watch it. Fine, you're not for that audience. But there's probably a host of people that might be really interested in a new product that they haven't been able to get anyone hands-on trialing it. I think that's a big thing. It's just sharing it and saying, we got this in.
Yeah, you could go into any of those merchants across the country and they'll have a whole range of products. I know they can't cover all of it, but wouldn't it be good for them to actually produce some sort of content to show what they actually do?
Yeah, the what, the why, how
Yeah.
you use it. Don't be afraid really with putting it in. There's going to be someone who probably will find that really useful.
Do you know, you're touching on something here now. When it comes to, I've come over here today we were talking about porcelain.
That's right,
okay. Was you getting the information from anywhere else? Really?
Honestly, so that's the thing is, like, the reason I reached out to you, John, was because it's hard to find a lot of this knowledge. It's hard to really find, how exactly would you think about doing this? And think, YouTube was the place I found it, really.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're trying to get. And don't you think that the suppliers and manufacturers that are producing this product, do you think that they should actually be a little bit more accountable, explaining about this new range? Porcelain's trending now. Okay, are they getting the information? Would you say are they getting the information out there for the?
You can, for me, for example, I can read some technical, document about measurements and stuff like that, but ultimately, every single garden, everything is unique to itself. You'll know that, John, don't you?
Yeah.
They're all unique in some way or other, and just putting those cases in front of people and explaining, this is how they would do it hands on. I think we were talking about this, John. Everyone's a bit of a different learner, aren't they?
Yeah,
Some people they can read a document easy, they get it straight away. Other people, they really need to be shown hands on. How do you actually use it? Showing the details, showing the close-ups and of how to exactly do it. I think it's not going to harm anyway. It's not going to harm anyone by adding it in.
It's just like watching a movie, isn't it? No, it is, isn't it? Because the story gets out in the end, doesn't it? We may not like the result of the story. Sometimes we're a bit disappointed, but by getting that video out, just imagine when I was going back, just made the point about Monet, and I know we're bouncing around it a little bit here now, but I'm trying to get out this message about how important it is to create a video. When we look at a picture, it's very subjective, isn't it? And piece of art, isn't it? And it doesn't say everything, does it? Like, we have to really look into it. But if it was moving, it tells a little bit more to the story.
There's a really famous saying, which you've probably all heard, which is, a picture says 1,000 words. A video says 1,000, words every second.
Right.
So a picture will tell you something.
The audio,
exactly, it's all there.
the movement.
Yeah, so like I said, it's really when you think about, is there anything closer to real life than a video, right? Is the best situation, wouldn't it? Is, you know, imagine we talked about all these, you know, places being able to talk to their customers. You know, the best situation is they have the time and energy to talk to everyone face to face. Reality is it's not going to happen. Video sort of fills that void, really, of produce one video, thousands of people can consume it, and they get essentially almost a close experience to being with you, you know, face to face.
Well, again, we're moving on to just something now. We will end this in a moment, but I was talking to a conductress on a train going over to Bath one day, and she said that we were chatting to her, and she was saying that when she did her training in Germany, when they go online to purchase a ticket, you can choose to speak to somebody and have a video conversation with them.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that is old school and it works, doesn't it?
Well, when you think about it, we've all been in that situation, whether it's a website or, to be honest, any situation where we've pulled our hair out because we're frustrated because we don't know what's going on. We haven't got the knowledge. We're not sure how the process works. Having something like a helpful video just helps people, right? It makes the journey better. It makes them feel better. And I think, like we touched on, is people putting out content is only going to help, isn't it? You know, that's what I'm going to ask. You know, I throw back at people and say, is it only going to help? From my side, it seems like it's only going to help everyone in an industry, every client. All of that is the worst case is someone's not going to watch it. That's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is people gain huge amounts of knowledge, huge amounts of trust, huge amounts of network and community from it. So you know, I would ask, you know, throw it back and say, you know, why wouldn't you do it, is what I'd say to most people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've covered a lot then, John, but just what we want to know is, are we going to do your patio?
Oh, well, lots of talking, lots more talking and planning, and it'll be a bit of a journey, won't it? It'll be good fun, I think.
Hey, listen, seriously though, thanks for giving us your time today.
It's been great fun, John, and
Cheers.
Let's do it again.